This is about CDs in my collection that I think most of my viewers wouldn't have in their collection. I'm sure there's some viewers that have maybe one or two of these albums or CDs, but I'd be very surprised if they have more than, maybe one or two of them. But we'll see. So let me know in the comment section below if, just let me know how many of these you do have. I wonder if anybody out there has this in their album or, vinyl or CD collection. And I've talked about this before, but in case you don't know, there's a very, very famous musician that is in this band, Flaming Youth. This is their one and only album from, I think, 1969. Right there. That is Phil Collins. Yes, he was in this band before he joined Genesis. And it's actually, the production isn't the greatest, but I really do enjoy this album. It's like elements of pop, prog, psych, I guess, maybe. It's just a fun album, and Phil Collins does, besides drumming, he does do some vocals on this album. So, like I said, on my Patreon, join for free for a 7-day trial, and you can listen to this album. I'll be posting it very soon. So let me know if you have this in your collection. Alright, this band is kind of a cult band. They're known, but they're not that well known. And this is their third album. I have the first three. I'm curious if anybody has Wire 154. I have no idea why it's called 154. Not crazy about the the album cover, but this is great. I love early Wire, and I definitely should check out more of their later albums. And 3 of the 4 members, I believe, are still, recording and playing live. They're like art rock, punky, kind of punky sometimes. Just, a really interesting band. Now this band I used to call, I used to mispronounce their name, and maybe I'm still doing it wrong. But this is Neu. Not new, it's Neu. A German band. This is Neu 75. And these, I think, their first 4 albums, I think that's all they did. These were gifted to me by a viewer, so thank you. I do listen to them, and this is my favorite, Neu 75. Does anybody out there have this in their collection? Let me know. Now this one, I rarely play it, but I bought it in the early 70s in a cutout bin, and I used to play it a lot back then, so I know it very well. But I still like having it in my collection. Of course, Tina Turner is one of the greats. And this is Ike and Tina Turner, What You Hear Is What You Get. It was a double album, but on this it's a single CD. There's all the songs, including, of course, Proud Mary. So, live at Carcany Hall. Yep. Respect, Honky Tonk Women, Doing the Tina Turner, Everyday People. That's the Ike Cats. Yeah, the Ike Cats do a few solo songs. I Want to Take You Higher, I've Been Loving You Too Long. Excellent. Do you have that in your collection? Now, back in the day, 1973, I believe. This album, like this band and this album, the album sold pretty well, and the band were pretty popular back in the early 70s, but they're kind of almost totally forgotten these days. And I was a huge fan of them for a few years in the early 70s. Does anybody, and this was gifted to me, I believe, yeah, by Pow. So thank you again, Pow. It was, really hard to find on CD. Does anybody have this really good Southern rock album, Black Oak, Arkansas, High on the Hog? And that's the great drummer Tommy Aldridge, who later on, of course, drummed for Ozzy. He was with Black Oak, Arkansas for a few years. And yeah, I really do enjoy this album. Here's Tommy Aldridge there. Do you have this in your collection? Let me know. Did I mention my Patreon site? I did? Okay. You gotta promote yourself or nothing happens. And sometimes when you promote yourself, nothing still happens. Okay, this band, I think they just finally broke up after years and years of making albums and touring. I never really followed them, but the first couple of albums I loved, although I just have their debut. And this is just great, catchy, pop, punk music. It is the Vibrators, Pure Mania. Let me know if you've had this in your collection. It'd be also interesting to know if you've at least heard any of these albums, but the main thing is if you have or not. And this band I've talked about a few times, their one and only album. It's crazy though, if I play this, like a song from this album for somebody, and I said, guess what year this was recorded? I bet they would say anything like 70s, 80s, maybe 90s. It is Monk's Black Monk Time. This was, like I said, recorded and released in 1966. And it's like the first punk album. And it's like not, there's good punk music and bad. This is great. And there's banjo. It's very unique. And if you've never listened to it, you should, if it sounds interesting to you. And even the song titles, Shut Up, I Hate You, Complication, Drunken Maria. So yeah, even some of the song titles are very punky. And it's great. It's a great album. Now this band was pretty popular, and some of you out there might have, some of their albums. But I'm wondering even if you're a fan of this band, if you have this album, which is an official release, it is yes. This is the first time they attempted to record the album, The Impossible Dream. So it's basically most of the same songs. But they weren't happy with I believe they weren't happy with, the whole story is in this. They weren't happy with the producer, and so I think they got another producer and they were happier. But when a couple of the band members, they have, they have their thoughts on this album, and it's, they're kind of impressed with it. And I was too. I think it's great. It's a little different than The Impossible Dream, but it's still excellent. It's the sensational Alex Harvey Band. Now, my good buddy Steve Schnee is a fan of this band. But other than that, I don't think I hear anybody talking about this band. Once again, kind of a cult band. They released 3 albums in the 70s. Then they broke up, and then later on they did some more live performances and I think a couple more albums. I think they're still around performing. And this is their 3rd album, my favorite, Deaf School. English boys, working girls. Just look at these characters. And that's Betty Bright. Yeah, so definitely a great album. Pop art. I guess you would label it art rock. All right, this artist is once again well known. If you're a fan of this artist, you might have this. It's kind of hard to. It's expensive to buy these days. But it's the re-recording. No, it's the original recording of Bat Chain Puller by Captain Beefheart. And this finally came out. You know, there's a long history about this album, but later on he re-recorded it. Here it is. Yeah, in I think 1978, Shiny Beast, Bat Chain Puller, which is my favorite Captain Beefheart album. But this earlier recording, which because of record label lawsuits and problems, it was never released for many, many years until... Yes, so this was recorded in 1976. I don't have the date of when I bought this, but it was about 10 years ago. And I love this too. I know that the cover is very boring, right? But open it up here. Ooh, that's a Bat Chain Puller. Yeah, so if you're a Captain Beefheart fan, this is highly recommended if you can find it. Okay, this one is once again a cult classic, I guess, from, yeah, originally released in 1969. Farewell, Aldebaran. Aldebaran, if that's how you pronounce it. Jerry Yester and Judy Henske. There they are there. Kind of psych pop. Here's the hype sticker. It's not one of my, like, it's good. I do like it, but I rarely play it. But I just remember buying this on vinyl back in the early 70s in a cutout bin. And kind of liking it. 2 more to go. This band is kind of known as I guess like a British jam band, and they're kind of known, but once again probably labeled a cult band. And I have a few of their albums, and this is my favorite. Man. Rhinos, Winos, and Lunatics. It's from one of those 5-disc, box sets you can get for a good price. And this was one of the 5 albums included. The original had a gatefold and everything. Yeah, so if you like guitar-based jamming, some very, very good vocals, check out Man. I might, on my Patreon, I might actually post this album at some point. And the final one, once again, I believe, gifted to me by Pal, or Gene. This one is interesting. It's art, rock, punk, however you want to label it, and I like it. Pierre Ubu. Pere Ubu. I think that's how you pronounce it. And this is Cloudland. It's a crazy album, but I really do enjoy it. It's fun. Some very unique vocals, shall we say. Do you have this in your collection? Let me know in the comment section below. And that is it. I'm looking forward to the comments if I get any. So thanks again, and if it's today, I'll see you hopefully at the live chat at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my other YouTube channel, Canadian Studmuffin. Bye.